Good afternoon, everyone present here. Today, I, Deepanshi Mahajan, with my co-presenter Saurabh and Sham, is here for the presentation on the topic portfolio revision, needs, constraints, and revision techniques. Before moving on to the definition of portfolio revision, let us understand something about the portfolio management. In portfolio management, the maximum emphasis is placed on portfolio analysis and selection, which leads to the construction of optimal portfolio. Portfolio revision is important as portfolio analysis and portfolio selection. Next is the variables which are determining the composition of portfolio. The securities included in the portfolio and the proportion of total funds invested in each security. For example, if we have 1 crore rupees in our hand to invest, then what is the proportion of total funds we need to invest in each of the security? And suppose if we take 4 securities, then what is the proportion? That means we need to invest 20% in first, 40 in second, and another 40 in the remaining two, or we want to adopt a different proportion. Next is portfolio revision. Portfolio revision involves changing the existing mix of securities. As portfolio revision is essential in order to meet with the changing demands of the financial market. This may be affected either by changing the securities currently included in the portfolio or by altering the proportion of funds invested in the securities. Portfolio revision leads to purchase and sale of security. Next, we'll talk about the objectives. The ultimate aim of any portfolio revision is to maximize the return and to minimize the risk. That means optimal utilization of resources in order to achieve the maximum profit. Next is needs and constraints in portfolio revision. In this slide, we will discuss what is the need of portfolio revision. First point is availability of additional funds for investment. Sometimes we have more additional funds to invest, and in order to include them in portfolio, we need to revise that portfolio. Next is change in risk tolerance. There is a possibility that the investor needs to change their risk tolerance according to their financial stability and financial status. Next is change in investment goal. There may be a possibility that investor needs to change their investment goals. In order to that, we need to revise their portfolio. Next is need to liquidate a part of the portfolio to provide funds for some alternative use. Okay, so in this case, we can take an example that there is a portfolio. In that portfolio, from that portfolio, the investor needs some fund. That means he needs some liquidation of that fund, some cash. So in that case, he need to revise his portfolio to provide funds for it. Next is the need for portfolio revision may arise from changes in the financial market or changes in the investor position, namely his financial status and preferences. Further will be continued by
Thank you, Deepanshi. Formula plan. The formula plan protects the basic rule and regulation for the purchase and sales of security. The amount may be fixed and either is constant. The variable ratio that depend on the investor attitude towards risk and returns. Next slide. Assumption of formula plan. uh, Assumption of formula plan. The market assumption is the certain percentage of investor allocated income security and common stock Investors should select the goods the move along the market. Next slide. Uh, if market move higher, the proportion of stock in the portfolio may either decline the remain constant, and stock bought and sold whenever there is significant change in the price. Next slide. The investor should be the investor of the should be strictly follow the formula plan once and cho- chooses it. The plan what constitutional to act on the plan. Next slide. Um, changes the level of market could be in the measures with help of indicates like VSAX and NAS Nifty. Thank you, sir. Next slide present by Sam Singh Kamal.
Now discuss about constant of portfolio revision. First is transaction cost. Transaction cost involves in the securities transaction such as commissions and brokerage, and hence it is a constant to portfolio revision. Second is taxes. Taxes are payable on capital gains arising from sales and securities, and it is a constant to portfolio revision. Third is statutory stipulations. As we know, largest portfolio are managed by the biggest investment and mutual funds in every country, and hence it acts as a constant to the portfolio revision. And last one is intrinsic difficulty. As we know, portfolio revision is a difficult and time consuming exercise. Methodology which to be followed in this process is also not pre-established, and difficulty which is arising in revision is itself a constant to portfolio revision. Now we discuss about types of portfolio revision strategies. There are two types of portfolio revision strategies. First is active revision strategy. Active revision strategy involves frequent changes in an existing portfolio over a certain period of time for maximum returns and minimum risk. Second is passive portfolio revision strategy. Passive revision portfolio involves rare changes in every portfolio, like only certain predefined and predetermined rules are known as formula plans. According to passive revision strategy, manager can only apply changes as per the formula plans. Thank you.